Hello and welcome to Ham Nation, episode 605 for, 606 for September 10th, 2025. And how you doing, everybody? I'm Josh, KI6NAZ. Thanks so much for coming on out to Ham Nation. We're in cruise control mode, you know. Everybody's back to school. We're all just getting back in the swing of things. Having a little bit of a relaxing time with the host tonight. And Randy's back with some really interesting projects he's been working on. So let's say hi to the lovely host. Randy's right up here. How you been, Randy? What's been going on?
Oh, I've been working on a lot of things, but I got this in the mail here the other day.
Oh, nice. Woo.
Wow.
This show.
There
you go.
That's receiving on the slow scan TV pictures from them. So
Swanky.
Fantastic. Gordo, how are you doing today?
We are doing well, and everybody get out your microwave ovens because we're going to be talking microwaves.
Very good, very good. Warm up them hot pockets. Don, how are you doing today?
What'd you call me?
He's a hot pocket.
I wasn't going to go there.
You know, that's what I was looking for. I'm good. I think I'm okay. I had to go on this website the other day, and so now that I'm 65 in a couple of days, I'm officially official. Yeah, I'm card carrying now. So I got my Medicare deal all straightened up, and so I'm just I'm getting older, counting the days, and that's really about it.
Well,
We do not have a Dr. T tonight. She's been very, very busy with her daughter going to school and everything. So we don't have anything from her, but of course you go check her out online. But we do have the folks from Amateur Radio Newsline and the weekly report. So we've got that going for us, which is nice.
And Amanda, you're back in the shack. How was your great wilderness expedition you went on? Because that was the last time we heard you, as you were heading out for camping, and it looked like a lot of fun.
Oh, it was so successful. I never activate POTUS under my own call sign. So I did that on, I think it was Friday night. Made 177 in an hour and a half. That's
nice.
That was really good setup, though.
Yeah,
really good.
And then Colorado QSO Day was the next day, and we started at 7 a.m. We used the club call sign, and Jeff and I combined made over 650 contacts in 15 hours. And that was with a couple of thunderstorms coming through. And then on Sunday, we did more POTA under the club call sign. And it was just a lot of fun, and talked to a lot of friendly, familiar voices and calls out there. So, yeah. Anyhow, tonight we don't have any guests. So it's just the hosts. Everybody grab your cup of coffee, grab your favorite beer, and just ease into the show tonight. And I'll be watching. Yes.
If someone was so inclined, a viewer maybe, and they wanted to be a guest, what would they do if they wanted to maybe reach out?
That one's pretty easy. You just send me an email.
Oh,
tell me.
gosh.
I know.
Is that easy, Amanda?
I mean, there is the 72-page background check after that.
The life scan. We require life scan.
We do.
And she does accept PayPal.
Name of your first dog, and the first street you lived on, and no, just send me an email if you're interested, or if you think you have a topic that you would like us to cover, or me, I'm an interest story kind of person. I'm the Olympics girl. I love the background story. So bring it to me, and I'd love to have you all on for sure.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I'll just be paying attention to chat. Oh, and I have Ham It or Can It tonight. Pretty good. There might be a Philly Karen in there somewhere.
That's been. Wow.
I couldn't help it. It was just dying to be made a meme for Ham Radio. So stay tuned for that. So I think we're sending it to Gordo. Gordo, take us away from this. Teach us something, please.
All right. Well, let's head to one of the highest amateur radio bands a few years ago, and now there's even more higher than this band. And we'll start with 10,000 megahertz, which incidentally is above where you're cooking your hot dogs or your hot pockets. So let's go ahead and roll the shots. First of all, I want to say, watch out weekend after next. And watch out for all the operators up on mountaintops that'll be beaming microwave signals at 10,000 megahertz, also 24,000, even 48,000 megahertz over hundreds of miles. It's the American Radio Relay League's Part 2, weekend after next, of the 10,000 megahertz and higher contest. And needless to say, don't stand in front of the dish horn or else you'll be cooking as well. Well, we started with 10 gigahertz about 40 years ago with the Advanced Receiver Research Gunplexer. And the Gunplexer offered point to point range, full duplex, and we had fun rolling around in the dune buggy. But that was wideband, and now we're down to single sideband CW, FT8, and all of the digital modes as well. So again, as this gentleman is doing, my belly is getting warm. Well, that's because you're standing in front of a dish that is literally cooking you. Well, he's actually off to the side and they're not transmitting. But you really want to be cautious that you, during microwave contests and you're looking on, don't be in front of the dish antenna. Now, many of the microwave contests, folks have brought ahead of time either homebrew equipment or they buy microwave equipment from the Europeans, and we'll give you some names shortly. And they get it into a horn antenna similar to this. And this is what I would say is a very sanitized microwave setup. It's going to run maybe a half a watt to maybe 1 watt output, but that'll go 300 and 400 miles under the right conditions. Well, you can bone up a little bit more and go for more power output and digital signal processing. So this is what the back of the advanced type of microwave signal operators use. This is my setup. It's quite portable, and you'll see in a moment why. It runs a whopping 2 watts output, which is nothing compared to those that can run 30 to 40 watts on 10,000 megahertz. And by the way, look at that feed horn. That's called a Cassegrain feed horn, where the energy reflects off of the dish onto that round disc, where it enters then a form of wave guide that gets it to the magic box, which we'll talk about next. Now, some of the Fox boxes that some of these folks use are large Kenwood ICOM Yaesu rigs, and they use them up on the 2-meter band or the 440 band, but can also be used on 10 meters as the IF. That's the brains behind it. But the real brains are coming up when you see this. Needless to say, that's quite a setup, and they're running all the digital modes, but they'll see that their IF radio is simply that little Yaesu FT817, tuned probably to the 2-meter band around 144, and that's going to feed all of the magic microwave gear called transverters. And you can really get behind, and that's where you want to stand when these folks are beaming signals over hundreds of miles. And it's just amazing to hear the quality. Well, this is the transverter that's going to take the output of your 2-meter or your 10-meter radio or maybe a 440 radio and convert it up to 10,000 megahertz. They have this in kit form, but you really got to be good in putting it together and following instructions. This comes from a company in Europe called Kuhne, Kuhne. They also have, and it's called a transverter. They also have Down East Microwave has made Down East converters, DB6NT. And of course, now we have the all put together ICOM 905, which in a few minutes, Josh is going to show us some pictures. So this is the device that takes your 144 megahertz output and takes it all the way up to 10,000 megahertz. And it also takes signals coming in on 10,000 megahertz receive back down to 144. And there's a lot of relay switching that must be done because you don't want to burn out the input to your intermediate frequency receiver. The microwave transverters are best for the new operator either buy completely assembled, but you want to make sure and get together with microwave experts to make sure that you've got all the components for switching TX and RX. And as we found out just before we got the show started today, you've got to have your connections absolutely clean. And this connection is called the SMA. And the SMA you're familiar with on newer handhelds that have the antenna SMA jack. Well, there you just sort of screw on the antenna and away you go. But on microwave frequencies, this must be absolutely clean because we want to get ready for the microwave contests. And the dish itself needs to be clean of any impurities or saltwater spray that when I'm maritime mobile sometimes gets on it. And this is a nice setup. And if anything else, it certainly looks impressive. And as we go higher than 10 gigahertz to 24 or 48, then we get into this type of circuitry where it's no longer a parabolo dish, but rather a steerable phased array. And this is what some of the hams are now going when they go to the higher bands beyond 10,000 megahertz. Well, does it work? Well, it's good to find out before you scale a hilltop to find out that, oops, something's wrong. So out here in Southern California, and I know other areas, they have tune-up parties. And this is where they all get together and get set up. And here we see a tune-up party by the San Bernardino Microwave Society. And by the way, they have a wonderful website, SBMS, San Bernardino Microwave Society, at groups.io. And you'll see more great articles. Well, we all get lined up, and one by one, we'll squeak a signal down to the receiving station. And the receiving station is not just another setup, but look at that test equipment. There's probably 10 grand just of microwave test equipment. So microwavers that you'll meet weekend after next, these are folks that are usually with TRW or many of the big microwave groups in the satellite comms, and they know their stuff. So here they're analyzing who's got what kind of a signal. You'll see mine about halfway down. I don't have a very fancy setup, so not a great signal report, but enough to at least make the scale and they could hear me.
Oh, wow.
Well, what really makes the difference, of course, number two difference is how big the dish's antenna is going to be. And here's a ham ready to erect the dish antenna for the tune-up party. And and he'll go ahead and he'll tug and up it goes. And then he's going to add the feed horn and all of the plumbing. And this is how we plumb the microwaves after they come out of the transverter. We plumb them into waveguide. And there's commercial waveguide that's flexible, as you see here. And the flexible waveguide needs to terminate to something on the rig. And there again is that SMA connector. And that's called a WR90 transition that we use usually on the 10 gigahertz band, where we're taking the black flexible waveguide and get it onto a jack that's going to plug into the transverter device. And as you can see, some of the waveguides are rigid. And yep, you can make corners with them and so on. We don't use coax up at 10,000 megahertz. We use rigid waveguide. And look at this, talk about plumbing. You can actually use copper pipe with the right type of connections and calculations. And it too is going to find the focal point of being able to catch the reflected energy off the gray dish and concentrate it right into the feed horn that you see there at the end of the copper pipe. But you know what? That's number two in making the grade for long range. Number one is propagation. And what we look for propagation is the Hepburn report. And the Hepburn report will give you in red those areas that support well beyond the horizon capabilities of beaming signals. Just like we see right here, Ready to go into some water on? No, that's not water. That's a refraction and a reflection of the sky above us. So microwavers have a great time in exploring the atmosphere, and that atmosphere is generally only the 300 to 500 feet above them or around them or in them. And you'll see that the atmosphere in a high pressure system will begin to layer, and that layer, if it's nice and thin, will be able to support microwave signals over hundreds of miles, in some cases close to 1,000 miles. And hey, what's a little bit of rain? Well, it's the clouds we like, because the clouds, in this particular case down in Texas, offer a great way of bouncing signals. This would be reflections of microwave. And on those bounces, we use digital mode CW, because it's pretty well unaffected, where a single sideband would be pretty much gobbled up. And a way of getting a good signal off to a good launch is be over a terrific ground plane. And here you see I'm sitting on one, or standing on one, right next to the boat. And that acts for a great takeoff. And then, of course, the question is, yeah, but microwave, you got to have that dish absolutely right on for both elevation as well as azimuth. Well, even with the boat rocking back and forth, it's quite forgiving, and the seawater acts as a great reflector. And you want to normally have a signal that's going to take off parallel to the horizon. A lot of folks, they have some nice type of devices to look and make sure that the bubble is right on the nose. Oh, much easier. Just hang a little bit of weight on a string, and you'll be able to see when your dish is absolutely in line with the horizon and the vertical plane. And there, that's again called the Cassegrain feed. And that setup right there, running a half a watt, once reached out 400 miles over seawater. You need 12 volts to power up the Cune or the Downeast or the NB6NT transverter. And the new ICOM 905, which in just a moment we'll have Josh bring it up, uh, it too needs a good 12-volt source. And the lithium iron phosphate battery from BioInnoPower is a great way, because it nice and holds its charge capability at about 13.1, with almost no wavering in when we're transmitting. And when you're not transmitting and working the contest, you can have a little fun with motorists by setting up your system with the signage in the background. This just happened to be a contest day, and I wondered why they were going so slow when they drove by. So, Josh, if you don't mind, we'll show off the ICOM America wonderful IC 905. And this was, well, Josh, you tell them where it is. I'll let you explain. Go.
Yeah, so this is a ham fair in Tokyo. If you caught my live stream with Ray Novak, not only did they talk about the 905 and some of the options, they kind of introduced, at least live for the first time, one of their new transverters. And so here's a quick shot of that.
"24 gigs. Wow."
I think that's a phased array, we learned later.
Yep, certainly looks that way. So the ICOM IC905 has the capabilities of an add-on 10G capability, and that 10G capability box goes up near the antenna. And as you can see, everybody's having a good time looking at the great ICOM product. And we've worked, Josh, as well as others, using the ICOM. And recently, we made a big discovery that some of the hams already had made, but they don't tell you when they take everything out of the box. And that is, the antenna is vertically polarized for use in Japan, where the convention is vertical polarization. But oh no, horizontal polarization is what we use here in the good old USA. And polarization really makes a difference. So if you'll drop over to my camera, Josh, the way we double check polarization is without transmitting. You can usually, they have a mark on the back, but this is one of the testing units that we use to determine polarization and that things are working properly. And as you can see, uh, just a little diode in here. And when we transmit, you're going to be able to see that unit deflect.
Oh.
And that lets us know that
Oh.
indeed we have some power out. And you know, you don't have to use a big 6-foot antenna. I've made a lot of contacts from the dune buggy and maritime mobile with just a small horn. But notice I have markings that say horizontal and vertical, and I can work an ICOM unit where they're still vertical in the vertical plane. And as soon as I go horizontal, the signal just about fades out. So if you're working with anyone weekend after next with a new ICOM dish antenna, double check that they've turned it in the normal way, 90 degrees, to be horizontal for the maximum range. So next weekend, not this one coming up, but I should say weekend after next, which will be the 20 and the 21st, all day on Saturday and Sunday, is the American Radio Relay League Part 2 of the 10 gigahertz contest. And there's going to be a ton of folks out there on mountaintops. And the best bet to learn about them is to find a local microwave club in your area. And you can do that by going on the arrl.org site, looking under clubs, and you'll see those specialty microwave clubs. But do take a look at San Bernardino Microwave Society. It's simply abbreviated SBMS at groups.io, and you'll see a ton of articles. So I hope to work some of you weekend after next up on 10 gigs, and we've got our regular outfit ready to roll in the dune buggy or maritime mobile, and we look forward to hearing you on microwave. And if nothing else, look over the shoulder of some of these microwave operators and see how they maneuver and get these long range contacts hundreds of miles away, running maybe 2 to 5 watts maximum of power. So that's my story, and we're heading for the microwaves. Back to you, Amanda.
Well, thank you, Gordo. Just a couple of questions. I never saw anyone standing in front of those microwaves. That's probably for a good reason, right? As they're
Yes.
transmitting.
That's a very good reason. They probably wouldn't get nuked unless they stood there for quite some time. But those microwave operators that are really skilled run a traveling wave tube called a TWT, and they put out 40 and 50 watts, and that'll sure cook a hot dog or a hot pocket device in a quick hurry.
My goodness. And
Wow.
well, you already mentioned how people could get involved in this, but I was more curious on where do you recommend if someone is going to look at getting into this? Do they start at 10 gig?
I would first start by just looking at the transverter itself and seeing some of the prices that they are charged for. These come out of the European country, KUHNE space 10 GHZ will get you on their website. You'll see kits for a couple $100, and you'll see fully assembled 1 watt transverters that come out on 10 gigs, but they're up in the $700 to $800 market now with the taxes that are now applied. That's one way to look at that. And again, San Bernardino Microwave Society has a wonderful groups webpage and with a lot of past articles all about getting started with microwave.
Perfect. Josh, did I miss any questions?
Well, I had one, and I think it's when you start looking into this stuff, which I've done, and obviously I had the 905 for a little while when I was doing my testing. I think that if somebody's new to this, they start putting together a station, and they get their transverter, and they start looking at antennas and all that stuff. But much like we do with HF, we start to acquire like test equipment or devices to kind of monitor power output, maybe even getting spectrum analyzers. But as you kind of pointed at, some of that test equipment can get pretty expensive. So for the new microwave enthusiast that wants to make sure their station's running correctly and they want to be confident, what do you recommend they do in that case?
I certainly recommend joining a microwave group where they would have monthly meetings where everybody brings in their gear, and one of the operators will set up an extremely micro powered transmitter and do just an informal receiver check and then speak into the microphone. And with equipment like this, they're able to see relatively the amount of power output compared to others, and then hopefully get them talking back and forth over a parking lot, and that'll get them ready for when the contest starts.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you, Gordo. I appreciate that. All right, I think we can throw it on to the ICOM spot. So thanks again.
Fun, Sun, and QSO. Wherever you go, keep the fun going with one of ICOM's go-to rigs. As the days get longer and the bands heat up, make sure you're ready with a radio that works as hard as you do. So kick back and enjoy the breeze and make those QSOs with ease. Remote ready, contest capable, and built for serious signal, step into the future of amateur radio with ICOM's powerhouse trio. The IC7760 HF digital transceiver, the IC-PW2 1 kilowatt HF 50 MHz linear amplifier, and the all-new RC7760 remote controller. Designed to work in perfect harmony, this system offers full remote operation, high output power, and seamless integration across the bands. The RC7760 remote controller serves as an extra control head, and up to 5 can be registered to the RF deck, though only one can be active at a time. For wireless connectivity, simply connect a commercially available Wi-Fi access point via the LAN port. Whether you're working from the shack, the field, or a remote site, you'll experience crystal clear audio, digital precision, and amplifier-grade power, all from a single unified interface. It's the ideal setup for contesters, MCOM operators, and high-demand users who expect more from their gear. The IC7300 combines intuitive touchscreen control, real-time spectrum display, and superior signal purity into one compact rig. Built for satellite, EME, and weak signal enthusiasts, the IC9700 combines all-mode operation on VHF, UHF, and 1.2 GHz. The IC705 go-to rig for outdoor hams who love POTA and SOTA activations. A large color touchscreen with real-time spectrum scope and waterfall display for intuitive function and setting operation. The IC705 provides big radio features and performance in the palm of your hand. Enjoy HF to 50, 144, and 440 MHz with D-Star, SSB, CW, RTTY, AM, and FM modes. For more information about all of ICOM's great amateur radios, visit icomamerica.com/amateur today.
And a huge thank you to ICOM for sponsoring Ham Nation. We very much appreciate that. Every time we go live, we give away 3 swag packs. You enter the giveaway by following the link in the video description and clicking that Enter Now button. It'll ask you things like your call sign, but fear not, you don't have to have a call sign to enter into the giveaway. So we're going to pick 3 winners, but first I want to mention that at the end of every month, they also select a winner for a radio. And you can see on the side here, for every month, they've got a new radio. And what are we giving away in September? It is an ICT-10, one of their new HTs that they've come out with. So let's go ahead and give you the winners for the swag prize giveaways. It is John K, KF8DIM. Brit B, N5QVS, and Alice R, KA3KMH. So congratulations. If you too would like to be a winner, make sure you take the link in the video description. And thanks again to ICOM. Randy is back with us, and it is my great honor to throw it over to him. And let's have a little chat with what he's been up to. And I'm quite excited myself.
Well, thanks, Josh. I've been almost been about probably 6 weeks since I've been on here last. So I've been working on some projects around here and some operating activities. And let me share my screen here and we can chat about some of these. And we want to do this. Move my microphone here. And is this feeding the internet?
Yes, it is. You're good to go.
Good to go. So my project notes here. I've gotten my satellite station running again. I had this running in Grass Valley, and when I moved up here in 2015, 10 years ago now, it's all been stored away. So it's out in the sunshine again. The other thing I did here about a week and a half ago was KPH, which is the Maritime um, radio station. They, I believe, went on the air, about the time of the Titanic when communications was required for the ships. And for decades, they ran Morse code. And of course, as technology came along, they went to digital with RIDI and other sorts of other digital stuff. And then, of course, the ships went on to satellite. So it's now a museum station. And the other thing here that's happening right now, you can get on the air right after Ham Nation and start chasing the Route 66 special event stations. Once you start, it's really addicting. So here's my antenna setup. It's kind of portable. I use this tripod based on these military masts. You get them in either aluminum poles or fiberglass. But what's key to this is that green thing in the middle. So you can use 3 poles for a tripod leg. And then you can push a vertical pole up through the middle there, and you could have a tall mast. Well, I'm not tall here. This is only about 6 feet above the ground, so I can work on it just standing next to it. In fact, I have 2 sections of legs for the tripod, so the wind's not going to blow it over. That's a fiberglass mast that goes, or boom, that goes through the elevation rotor there at the top. And that thing, well, when we bought our house in Grass Valley in 1990, we bought it from a ham who I didn't know, this fellow, and he had a big satellite station. That's what got me started. So that piece of fiberglass is probably 40 plus years old. And the fiberglass was getting pretty, a lot of little shards coming off it. You didn't want to handle it in your bare hands. You get a bunch of slivers. So went down to the hardware store and I got some epoxy paint. So now it's nice and smooth. In Grass Valley, I had 2 KOM 22C 2-meter beams. Those things are 11 elements vertical, 11 elements um, horizontal, phased together for circular polarization. The boom is about 19 feet long. I had 2 of those things for 44 elements. This is back in the Oscar 13 days where the satellite's 40,000 kilometers out into space. The 435 antenna on the other side. Oh, anyway, just go back to the 2-meter antenna here. The boom on that was in 5 sections. So I thought I'm just going to use 3 out of the 5 so I can get this thing to be shorter. So now I'm running 6 elements H and V, and it seems to. I put the antenna analyzer on it. It looked fine. So it's a lot shorter. The 435 antenna on the right is, I believe, a French antenna, F9 FT maybe, and it was 19 by 19 elements, so a total of 38, and that was 10 feet long. So I'm just using half of that with about 10 elements in each direction. And I don't have any preamps or anything, and I just have the coaxes running out across the ground. I bought about $450 of DX Engineering LMR the flexible cable, the flex stuff, and that runs directly back into the shack. Lost my mouse here. Here we go. So what makes this stuff interesting and much easier to do is if you automate the whole setup. So CSN Technologies makes this SAT controller box. It's really a tiny little thing. It has 3 connections on it, so you feed it and with a USB cable for power, and you plug one cable into the back of the rotor, and you plug the other radio into the back of the ICOM IC9700 into the CIV jack, and now um, the software knows when the satellites are coming over. It spins the rotor around and tracks it, and it puts the radio on the right frequency. We transmit on the top band on the radio, and we receive on the bottom band. And then we use RIT to take and net ourselves. So you'll be talking through the satellite and use the RIT and zero yourself in, so you can um, uh, take take a net yourself. The Doppler correction works really well. Listening, we're talking with people on RS44, which is a linear transponder satellite. And it's in a little bit higher orbit, so you can use it for 15 to 20 minutes. And I've tuned across the band, and there'll be 5 or 6 different, conversations going on there. And the Doppler correction, you tune the guy in, and then the SAT controller will maintain that frequency corrected for Doppler. So it's just about as stable as HF. You don't hear the people changing pitch and stuff. It really does a nice job. If you have a little spur that you're hearing, you get a little beat tone, you hear that change frequency. But the stuff coming through the satellite stays corrected. It works very well. And that little sat box is, I think, $270. So it's kind of a, uh, you know, it's not real expensive. It has Wi-Fi built in. So if you're using it out in the field, you can connect. It acts as an access point, so you can connect your computer Wi-Fi directly to it. Or if you're at home, you connect it to your Wi-Fi network. This is their user interface for that. So that little box serves up a web page. So you just point your browser at the IP address shown on the display there, and you get this. So, okay, so over here in the right, these are all the satellites that I'm tracking or that I'm, interested in. RS4, RS, RS44 is now selected, and that puts it over into this area here. And it says that the elevation of the satellites at 7 degrees, it's going down. The antenna's at 9 degrees, and the range and all that. You get a map up here that shows the coverage area. This is kind of a polar display, which shows you where the satellite starts over the horizon, what its path to the end is. The white dot here is where the satellite is, and the orange square is where the antenna is pointing. So you see the antenna kind of lead, and then the satellite kind of passes over it, and then the antenna's lagging a little bit, and then the rotors kick in, and it moves it forward. But the beam width of the antennas are so broad that that's not a problem. It brings up all the operating frequencies, and this one here is use 2 meters up and 435 down, and then it has the beacon frequencies here. And you can just click on these, and the radio will go to that frequency. It has a logging built in, which I find really handy because it gets the right fields entered for a satellite QSO, so it gets logged properly through Logbook of the World, and it saves it as a file, and then I import it into my main logging program. I think I can push it over there, but I haven't figured that out, but that works fine. So I've made a few contacts, one with my friend John up in Fairbanks. I visited him back, I think, in February. He's been struggling getting his satellite system working again. It's up on a tower. He has to get a man lift out to work on it, and it gets to be quite a project. And trying to keep the rotors working when it's 40 degrees below. And but he's got it working. And I was just tuning across the band the other day, and I had a nice chat with John, so that was fun. There's a couple satellites sending down slow scan TV. I've never been able to get the quality. Well, they send it down in Robot 36, which is a real fast mode compared to the PD-120 that the space station uses. But I'll come back in here and the thing's tracked over, and MMSSTV has, collected a picture or two. So that's kind of been what I've been playing with. The next thing is the Maritime Radio Historical Society, which runs the KPH Maritime radio station, which has been on the air for, I guess, close to 100 years. Once a year, they do this crypto event. So they encrypt a message using the Enigma machine or a online simulator, and then they transmit that. And your challenge is to receive it and decode it. So they give us the sheet out of the German code book, which is what the Bletchley Park people wish they had all the time and make their job so much easier. So there's the key, and we just have to figure out what role we're going to use there. And of course, this thing looks like they were trying to take and destroy it or something. Got burn marks all over it. So you think, amateurs aren't supposed to encrypt their messages, but if they, present the key publicly, you can probably do that. But they do the transmission through their commercial frequencies, and they still get on the commercial frequencies. They send out weather bulletins and stuff, and CW and RIDI and Cytor, I believe, and some other things. And I think at a certain time of the day or certain days of the week, they will actually listen for CW traffic. So I loaded all these frequencies into my 7610 because you want to be able to quickly flip back and forth to find the strongest signal. So this is what my setup looked like when I was trying to receive the CW. I'm not a CW guy, so I was trying to use the CW decoding in FL Digi, and I had this other program called CW Git, and it's kind of a hard thing. This is kind of neat because it does automatic threshold here. So you see these top and bottom lines where it's trying to sample the code. And you see down through here, it is decoding the groups properly. But, this is starting off here at BSTHH. And in FL Digi, it copied it as ISTHH. So if I was going to use this CW stuff to try and decode the message, I'd have to try a couple of variations of the 5-character groups to make it work. And the RIDI transmission is a whole different story because now it's basically perfect. But luckily, I came out here. They came on the air at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and I got out here maybe about 12:30 or 12 o'clock or something, and they were on the air doing weather bulletins, and I was trying to receive the CW, the Morse code stuff, and I switched over to the RIDI frequencies, and it was there, and FL Digi was doing okay, but I was getting some errors there. MMTTY, I was getting just all sorts of errors, and I've used this program for years and years and years. It's been rock solid, and the little displays here, the little spectrum display and the little XY decoding, the mark is out of one filter and the space is out of the other. And as you tune, this rotates and you try and get it into a plus symbol there. And it was all kind of noisy. I was getting all sorts of errors and it was getting close to on the air time. I went in, checked my audio setups in MMTTY, and I was using the microphone in my webcam. So the microphone in the webcam was picking up the radio speaker and trying to take and decode that. Once I switched over to the sound card settings built inside the 7610, bingo, there it was copying perfect. So it was good to have that setup time, or otherwise I may not have gotten on the radio. I would have gotten it over here, I think, but maybe not there. So now we've got this message. So this is to this captain from this admiral here. Looks like at 2312 on May 27th. There's 120 characters in the message. Here's a couple 3-character groups. Then here's the message. And they would send the preamble and the end um, in the clear. But these things here, and in this case for their exercise, this date is very important. And so this is what you get, a bunch of gobbledygook. Now, what's important here is the date, May 27th. So in the a little write-up, they mentioned that, the sheet is what they have, and this is best they can do, and, pay attention to the date. So this column here on the left is days of the month. And you count up here 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. This row is the settings that we need to set our machine to. So this first group here is which rotor is in which position in the machine. So the first rotor is rotor number 2. In the second position, we're going to use rotor 1. In the third position, we're going to use rotor 4. And you can see they change these things, each day. Now the 3 rotors, the rotors kind of will separate and you can spin them. And this kind of rewires the rotor. So you have 26 positions that each rotor can be set to. So we need to set it for 4, 8, and 10. Then to scramble things more, they have what they call the plug board. So we'll see a picture in a second. You plug B into R, S into C into S, D into J, and so on. You get down here to the end, and we got a burn mark. So I was looking at this, and I go, well, that looks like a round, something like an O. Well, we've used an O here. Other symbols that look like that, maybe as enclosed, would be a D and a G. So I thought this must be a Q. So Q to W is what I patched up. So this is the online Enigma machine that I use, and there's several out there. And I found a video on the KPH website that referenced this machine and a video to go through step by step how to do all of this. And there's a lot of steps. You're really lucky if you get all the way through the first time without making a mistake. It took me about 3-4 times to make this work. Excuse me. So you click on the rotors up here, and this row here is where you set what rotors are in which position. So it just defaults to 1, 2, 3. We needed, I think, 2, 1, 4 or something like that. Then the ring setting, that other column, in this case, I just have it in letters. So I made a little spreadsheet, 1 through 26, A through Z, so I knew which letters to set that for. And then after you enter in 3 characters, you end up with 3 more characters, and you put that result in here, and then you're ready to take and decode. Here's the plug board. So you click on when we had to go from Q to W, you go from Q to W, and you get a color, and E to R, whatever it is. So you set up your plug board. So when you get all that set up, you start typing in the message. And in the windows, just like 2 different windows in the program. So you see the encoded message and then the decrypted message. And when I started to see begin plan, I knew I had it working. This is now the decoded message. X's are periods. So now you just throw it in the word processor and you break all those X's out. And this is what you get, what I got. Begin planning cross-channel op. And the objective is English, mainland, detailed naval and air support requests or requirements maybe. And the code word for this op is sea lion. I did it.
Oh, wow.
Hey, great work.
That's amazing.
So then you send this off to the KPH guys. Oh, one other thing. I thought, who is this admiral that the message is from? Well, he exists, and he was a German admiral who played a major role in naval history of World War II and was convicted of war crimes after the war. He obtained the highest possible naval rank of Grand Admiral in 1939. He led the Kriegsmarine maybe for the first half of the war. He resigned in January 43, replaced by Donitz, and that's a very famous German naval guy. And then at the Nuremberg trials, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, but was released early, owing to failing health in 1955. So the guy exists. So you send your message off to them, and you get this nice certificate back. So they do this once a year. I've swapped a few emails with the guys there. I said, it'd be kind of nice if you did this maybe quarterly, because if I wait a year to do this again, I'd have to learn it all over again probably. So that was an interesting exercise.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
So while this whole thing was going on, I remembered to have my SD card in the radio, and I hit the record button. So I recorded the whole audio for this whole thing. I've edited it down and got rid of a lot of the marine weather and stuff. And I have a separate video of just the recorded audio from the radio. So if you want to try this yourself, there's the whole audio. I do have a video which goes through me receiving this, and you can see what's happening. And then step by step, watching the video, me doing it, going back and forth until it came out at the end. So,
Randy, how many people do you think did this?
I think last year they had about 135. I haven't seen any updates from them yet for what happened this year. They did mention they had a good turnout, whatever that actually means.
That's surprisingly higher than I would have expected to actually follow through with it and submit.
Now I'm going to learn a whole lot more about this. The same weekend as PacificCon is the Antique Wireless Association's annual conference in Rochester, New York. So I'm going there. I'm not going to PacificCon this year. And each year the AWA has a theme, and this year the theme is television. That's what my whole career was all about. So we'll see everything, hopefully from the spinning disc and all sorts of things. But the weekend before that, before I fly out, I'll be down in Petaluma. So I'm going to spend Saturday going out to the KPH site. So I go out to the transmitting site at 9:30 in the morning for coffee and donuts or something, and spend time there. And then it's about a half-hour drive over to the receiving site. They had a split site station. So the receiving site is where they received, and that's where the operators were. And, they had their, usually their bugs there, their vibroplexes and stuff. And they would be keyed into telephone lines to go 30 miles away to key the transmitters. So that'll be an interesting day at visiting them.
Oh, that sounds like it's going to be a really fun time for you.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. I've watched, there's so many videos on YouTube about Bletchley Park and all the code breakers and things. And one of the things I've always wondered about was, what were the Germans doing to the British? And I found a video, and this guy went through it, and basically the Brits were using the same encryption scheme that they used in World War I, which the Germans broke back then. And it wasn't until they actually received a German message that they, decrypted and put it side by side with one of their original transmissions that they knew the Germans had actually broken the British codes.
Yeah.
So.
And Randy, with the whole, not to brag, but it took me like 3 or 4 tries. Brother, I would have given up. I don't.
Well, I wanted to make a video on this, so I had to get all the way through it.
It's fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Randy. Anything else?
Very cool.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the Route 66. So this is on now. It's been on since Saturday, I think, but it ends Sunday night. So you still got 4 full days coming up. They have 24 stations. So this is my log sheet here. So what they do is put stations all the way from Santa Monica to basically Chicago, or just outside of Chicago, all along Route 66. And then they have 2 rover stations. And then they have a guy in an airplane. And to qualify for a clean sweep, you do not have to receive the aeronautical station, which is good. They're on in all different modes. So have now, completed all 23. I got the last one, W6W here, just this afternoon. Actually got them on 18 megs here, and then a little bit later, they were on 14 megs on sideband. They were much, much stronger. I've done mostly FT8, although there are 6 sideband contacts.
And this weekend, they're at the Wigwam Hotel.
Oh, okay.
On Route 66.
Yeah. So once you start on this, the first day I got about 10. And then you get about 4 or 5 the next. And then it's kind of a slug to keep tuning around and stuff. So working the digital modes, you get some, where the heck here? I've lost a slide. There's all sorts of things you can help you with. One is use Ham Alert, which is an app on the iPhone, probably the Androids as well as a web page where you can enter in stations that you want to track their spotting. And what's nice about the Ham Alert is that it collects spots from PSK Reporter, spots that people manually enter, and one other mode. So it's always picking up things. And what's kind of neat is that you get the alert on your phone and you get your alert on your iWatch. So you can be watching TV and go, oh, there's one I need, and run back into the shack. The other thing I used a lot is JT Alert, and put all 24 stations in there to take and alert you. And JT Alert watches WSJTX. And when WSJTX hears one of those stations that you set up the alert for, it'll highlight it up in the window of all the stations that it's receiving, and you can have a tone, alert you, and then you can double click on the alert in JT Alert, and it sets up on WSJTX, and you're ready to start transmitting. So you're always watching to find a clear frequency to transmit on when these things start to appear, and that really helps. Also used, was it DX Summit, a spotting page, and put in all 26 calls, and you can watch what's going across there. And that is, I believe, just people manually placing spots. So that's where you'll see a lot of the sideband spots. You won't see them in JT Alert. You may see them in Ham Alerts. So you need like 2 or 3 things running at the same time in order to help finding these guys. And then you spend time on 20 meters and 50 meters, just dialing up and down the band, looking at the waterfall. Oh, there's somebody there, and you listen to it to see who they're working. Oh, it may be a POTA station, so jump on there and work on the POTA guy, or it may be one of the Route 66. I found several that way, just tuning across, and bingo, there they were. They weren't spotted or anything. So, like I said, once you start this, it gets very addicting, and you'll spend a lot of time in your chair in front of the radio, hunting them down. And if you're lucky, you get them all.
I'm just going to bring in, Bob was just obsessed with Route 66.
Yep.
And if anyone oh gosh, he was always like adamant to be the 80 meter operator for Missouri. And it was always so much fun. Like, he always fully admitted, I'm not going to put the most in the logs. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to make the most quality contacts. So I listened to him for hours, just trying to put people in the logs, but inevitably get like talk about their audio or you sound really good. What are you using? And it was just a fun time. Sorry, it just brings back memories.
And you know what? Speaking of K9 EID and Ham Alert, I saw K9 EID pop up on Ham Alert the other day from doing some POTA. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Good
So
for
I was,
him.
yeah.
66 event.
Probably was. I was at work, so I couldn't do anything about it. But yeah, it made me smile, made my heart feel good.
Me
I
too.
listened for him, but I wasn't able to hear anything.
Yeah.
So that's all I have here from the Ham Shack.
Well, Randy,
this
good
week.
luck with the Route 66. Everyone else, shout out if you've been working the stations. I have failed this year.
You got
Work
4
has
more
been too busy
days.
for me. Yeah, I'm going to maybe get serious
Yeah.
about it.
Well,
Yeah.
you need to have a remote station so you can have it on another monitor at work.
Remotable station.
Yes.
Remotable
Okay. I
station,
was
yeah.
like, wait. So I can pretty much. I have
Jeff, get busy.
I have the software on my laptop. I could bring my laptop and just leave the rig on here
There
at
you
home.
go. Yeah.
Leave the beam on 20 meters. I can put enough of them in the logs for now. So
Yeah, the ones I
still
have
feel like
trouble
that's cheating.
here getting are the ones done in the LA area because the
Sure.
skip on 20 meters or 15 just usually doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, back before FT8, when PSK 31, I actually had to run a kilowatt amp to get the guy down there.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So
Well, thanks, Randy, for sharing. We appreciate
you're
that.
welcome.
All amazing content. And I
Great
think
stuff
you have
always.
wowed the chat room to death. So where are we at now? We're going to Amateur Radio Newsline. Don, it's all you.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into that. From Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2497, this is Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. Our top story takes us to the global marketplace, where U.S. customers learned from many retailers around the world how America's tariffs will affect their ability to order imports. In France, one leading ham radio equipment supplier announced it was among those companies halting deliveries to the U.S. altogether.
Founded in France in 2014, PassionRadio.com has become a leading online seller of ham radio receivers, antennas and other equipment to customers around the world. As from the 25th of August, however, the company suspended all shipments to the US, noting that the French national postal operator has stopped accepting US-bound parcels. The company's director, David, F1JXQ, told visitors in its website, with constant changes in tariffs, shipping costs and carrier processes, we cannot guarantee fair or transparent conditions for our US customers any longer. Our priority is to restore a reliable and cost-effective shipping solution as soon as possible, unquote. This is Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
If you like keeping one eye on the sky, you may want to think about helping NASA keep track of signals coming from the Artemis II test mission next year.
NASA is looking for volunteers to track next year's Artemis II Orion spacecraft during the crewed mission's round-trip journey between the Earth and the Moon. The U.S. Space Agency is asking for those with the necessary capabilities to observe the Doppler shift on the Orion's S-band return link carrier signal. The monitoring is designed to achieve and keep a carrier lock solely for the purpose of tracking the spacecraft. Volunteers will not be transmitting or uplinking signals. Orion's S-band range is between 2200 and 2290 megahertz. The planned flight follows the Artemis I mission of 2022, which featured an uncrewed Orion spacecraft that was tracked by 10 volunteers. NASA hopes to hear from prospective candidates no later than 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Monday, October 27th. This is Andy Morrison, K9AWM.
To some, this month is known as September. But to a good many CW operators, especially those in North America, they know it as Canadian Straight Key Month.
This year, it takes just 4 letters, C, S, K, and M, to let everyone on the air know that they are hearing a CW operator in one of Canada's provinces who are taking part in the Canadian Straight Key Month of the Straight Key Century Club. The event has eliminated the use of special call signs. Now hams will be heard calling CQCSKM, followed by their own call signs. According to the SKCC website, the change was made to make it easier for everyone to enjoy the event, which runs through the 31st of September. Operators who work at least 6 different provinces are eligible for a special downloadable award. The annual event is similar to the SKCC Straight Key Month, featuring U.S. stations. That event, which uses the call sign K3Y, takes place every January. This is Randy Sly, W4XJ.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news since 1976 at arnewsline.org. With Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, Andy Morrison, K9AWM, Randy Sly, W4XJ, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3, we'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. All right, and our thanks, of course, to the Amateur Radio Newsline crew for that. We don't have anything from Dr. T tonight. She's been extremely busy, but of course, you can always check her out at X on the Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Tamitha Scove, and of course, YouTube, and which is Tamitha Scove, and of course, they're at spaceweatherwoman.com. So that's all I have. I guess it's time for some
Screen again.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because
What
it's
do we got?
happening live right now here.
Oh,
So let
it's
me bring it up.
happening live. Okay.
Yeah,
Live,
really?
everybody. Breaking
Oh, my.
news.
Randy's going to push the screen
Let
here.
me-
We're seeing it.
I'm going to brace myself.
Entire screen here. This is what I want. Okay. So here's JT Alert running on the left
Uh-huh.
and WSJT on the right.
Okay.
It's receiving here. We got a few more seconds before it
I
completes
see
the
a
cycle.
W6D.
Look at everybody looking for
Oh, yeah.
W6W.
Wow,
And
look at
there,
that, yeah.
it just received it. There it is in pink. It put it
W6W,
down
okay.
here. And if I double click on this, it puts it in there and puts the radio into transmit. And off I
Oh,
go.
wow.
So,
That is too cool.
You're
Yeah.
chasing it. Chasing them down.
yep. So I just
Neat.
brought this up. You can see it running in real time here. So,
That's
Cool.
cool.
yeah. So on to Amanda.
Well, thank you. I was still I'm fangirling over your AI drawing of your shack, Randy.
I
It's
was
just
just going
really
to ask that.
cute.
Where did that come from?
That's cool, yeah.
It's awesome.
It's Chat GPT. I just took a photo and said make it into a cartoon.
That's so
Neat.
cool. Nicely done.
It's lovely.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I am hit and miss with if Chat GPT does what I ask it to do, or
Uh-huh.
it's not reading my brain waves right, so it doesn't do it right. And God forbid you make a change, because then it changes. Like you'll just say,
Yeah.
get rid of the brown desk, and then all of a sudden there's
It's
like
a
a
whole
clown
different
in there.
picture.
You're
Yeah.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
where'd
Yeah.
that come from? So speaking of pictures and things on the internet, let's go over some Ham It or Can It.
Yes.
I love this
Absolutely.
section. This is my best
Okay.
segment, my favorite one.
Entire screen. Oh, I didn't even pull up my photos yet. So I was just going to show everybody real quick what my POTA setup looks like. And
Oh, yeah.
this is why I feel like I'm cheating in
Ooh.
POTA.
You got a sweet setup. Oh, my goodness.
Nice.
So
Can you
this
hear
is-
me now? Yeah.
I
Yeah,
know.
no
So
joke.
this is why I make 177 contacts in an hour and a
Mhm.
half.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so.
all in
And
the
this
antenna.
this wasn't the camping spot, but close enough. So this is just kind of our portable, like we put the UTV on this trailer and the tower comes down and we travel with it all in one. It's really awesome.
And use that generator in the background to power your amplifiers?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of amplifiers,
Yeah.
so this is our little setup, and it's our 705. The tuner, because we wanted to make sure we had everything just right for the contesting part of the weekend. And then our MLA 100 amp. This is really nice, everybody. It's a 100 watt amp, as it sounds like, and it's flawless. The only, if I had a complaint to make about it, is that is kind of slow to start up and shut down. But other than that, it catches SWR, and
That's great.
it is really tiny, and it shuts off when it detects high SWR, which is amazing. So
Very cool.
because you never know when you're out in the field and stuff, at wind and it rained on us a lot, so we would start to get SWR.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did a kit.
Speaking of campers and shacks, Steve Good Game is working on his. Does anyone else have this bunk area in their camper where they have turned it into a shack? If so, I want to see your picture. Show it, send it
Very
to me.
specific. Yes,
Like
I
you
like
ripped,
it.
he ripped out the bottom bunk and built a table and stuff. So good job, Steve. Like he doesn't. He's so busy all the time with
I
his
know.
Teachers Institute, and here he is still doing amateur radio. Oh my gosh.
It's all that coffee he drinks. That's why he's got so much energy to do all that stuff.
No, he's backed off of that considerably.
Yeah, he's
Has he really?
had to, but I'm definitely taking his place in that. I drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah, me
Let
too.
him know.
Way
Let
too
him know.
much. Way
Okay.
too much.
Why are ham radio operators obsessed with computer screens other than QRZ, which you have on your iPhone? I can't see any reason. Dude, just give me a break, man. If I've got the technology, first of all, I have 3 screens in front of me.
Me too.
I
Randy
want
has
more.
like
I want
Randy
more.
has 16.
No, only 4.
And yes, we come from a hobby that we're supposed to be able to break free of our technology, but if you have it, we love to use it. Josh, am I right?
I go from work from bad screen and go home and get on good screen, my home computer, because that's literally my entire life is in front of screens. It's the best.
Yep. Mine too.
And it just makes life easier. And if you can be looking at your log, first of all, your logbook, 100%, you need it on your screen. If you're logging on paper, it's because you had to hike into a place on a soda and you couldn't bring a computer with you or a tablet. Just saying, we like our technology. Okay. This guy, Stefan, I don't know what your problem is with us American YouTubers, but I'm sorry that you had to delete all of our subscriptions because you don't like.
No. So okay, let me talk to this for a second.
Auto dubbing.
So we didn't do this to you. What has been happening is when I make a video and let's say someone in España watches it, YouTube will auto dub my videos with very poor auto dubbing software into Spanish. Now, that's on by default, and you have to go in and deactivate it. Now, the people who complain the most are the ones that are like basically bilingual. And they're like telling me, "Hey, don't leave this on. I know English." Well, I'm not necessarily trying to have you watch me. Like, you could just bring up the American YouTube or use a whatever. There's lots of different ways. I'm trying to reach the people in the other country, and that's the best I got, right? That's the best we got right now, unless I'm going to take my videos and get it translated and all that other fun stuff. So it's not the best solution, but at the same time, it's also fairly small amount of people who are upset about that from what I've seen. But I don't know. Leave a comment if you guys think that I should just turn off the auto dubbing no matter what.
Okay. There it is.
Yep.
I can't speak on this, but
I worked Shuey twice. I worked Shuey twice over the weekend. He was on single sideband, and I think I got him on FT8 and something else. I think it was C. I don't remember.
Josh, are you ruining Meshtastic for everybody else?
So the ham who has like aside from the I can't remember his name now, but the really nice creator in Finland. I'm the one who kind of amplified the signal on Meshtastic and have like some of the most views on any of the videos. And yeah, I'm a ham. So the guy who brought you Meshtastic is also the one killing Meshtastic, which is kind of funny. With that said, DEF CON had the most mesh nodes I've ever seen in one place in my life. I think it's a world record. So yeah, I don't know. Not all of them hams. Not all of them hams. They were all into it. So I don't know. All
That's right. Fun. Well,
how did we kill it though? What did we do? We're just
I don't know. I was like, you're missing some context
popular,
there.
maybe?
That the popularity could possibly be it, or taking it for your own, or doing cool stuff with it that they can't do. I don't know.
5'9" into the mesh, good buddy.
There you go.
See, that part would
Commodore.
be an XA. Like, you're off. You're not allowed to use any of my stuff if you were to give signal reports or something. Okay, this guy. Don't climb a tower like this, everybody. Just please don't. It's not safe. This belt is not enough. You need a harness.
That's like climbing a tree. Right. That's like for a telephone pole.
That's exactly what that is. Yeah.
Yeah. not, and it's
No.
it's actually really sad because this is a video on Instagram, and the dude drops his freaking connector and he's up like 100 feet and he's looking down with just this despair of just like, oh,
I'd have
I
18
have-
of those
Well-
connectors in my pocket.
I know.
At least that antenna bracket will catch him, unless, of course, it rips off too as he's sliding down the tower.
That bracket doesn't look like it's on there very sturdy either.
Take the
God
tail
help him
pole with
if
you.
he hits those guy wires, and all of a sudden, I don't
Maybe-
even want to think about what happens there.
He's up pretty high, and it's just
Yeah.
and somebody's filming this from like really far away, like just
Yeah, that
it's
makes
just
my
a
hair
doomsday.
hurt.
I feel bad for the dude.
That makes my
Okay,
hair
I don't even
hurt.
know what this is.
Oh my gosh. I have a video coming out on this tomorrow.
Do you? Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Of course he
please
does.
explain it away then,
will-
and I'll watch.
I
But
will
I
try
don't
to
know what the
explain-
hell I'm looking at.
I will try to
so-
explain very quickly with the image on here. This is a radio that is doing CW on 2 meters. And it's not a joke, it's actually CW. And
Oh,
there
I
are
see
a
the
number
little paddle going into the.
That's
put
right.
into the
It's using the
mic
PTT
headphone jack,
line
yeah.
to key the radio for CW. And it works flawlessly. It works great. A number of the soda guys in Southern California are
Oh,
using
that's
this.
funny.
And
Oh,
it
wow.
works awesome. And it's that radio, it's that little cheap Quancheng that does it.
Wow.
I'll
Yeah,
be
and-
darned.
Now, I will spoil the video, so everybody make sure you watch this tomorrow. I posted a 6-second video of me keying that radio, same radio, on a Facebook post. And I got over 300 comments of hams yelling at me about it. That it was fake,
That's
it was AI
funny.
generated, I was on the wrong frequency. I got yelled
Bad
at by
Josh, bad Josh.
everyone. And my whole video is going to be dispelling all of this and breaking it down because hams have lost their mind on Facebook,
Oh
everybody.
my
Yeah, unsubscribe.
Completely
gosh.
lost
Yeah.
their mind.
Yeah, you ain't nothing but a lid. That's
For
all.
real. Like,
Got that too, but got poor
Yeah,
operator,
More than Meshtastic.
lid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
go back to Meshtastic. Yeah, exactly. I got it all. I got it
that's
all.
fantastic.
I love it.
No, it's
This
gonna be
is
great.
why
I
we
love
have
it.
a fun time around
Yeah.
here. Okay.
I love it.
All right, here we go.
Ooh.
immediately after passing tech.
Who else had? They did this to me as soon
Oh
as I
my
passed.
God.
Congratulations! Here's your test results.
That's
So-
funny. When are you going? Yeah, when are you upgrading? That's funny.
hilarious.
Now we
I
have
was
become
gonna
a real
go-
ham, huh? Yeah.
I know. I could
Oh
have
my
made it
God.
so much meaner, but I figured we did need a light heart tonight. So
That's
yeah.
funny.
Anyhow, we are going to get serious.
Ah,
What's my next series? Oh, this is Fun Times. This is our keynote speaker lineup for HamCon Colorado in end of October. We have
Nice.
Riley coming, Steve Herman,
he's
W7VOA.
great. He's
Wow.
Yeah, I am so in love with this. Mark Prule, who's a Colorado local but works on the Artemis team. We're going to hear from him, and we have Ask Dave that writes the QST
yeah, Dave
columns.
Kessler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
That's going to be
It's a nice
an
lineup.
outstanding lineup.
I
Some
know.
heavy
I'm
hitters.
just- do you know we sweated this? Like this was not even confirmed last week, so
You done
I'm
good.
happy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's not forget tomorrow is September
Mhm.
11th. Obviously, anybody that was around in 2001 will never forget 2001 and 9/11. So,
Remember that day vividly.
and this is just a quick reminder, everybody: when you don't like what somebody is saying on the air or in America on a TV channel, use your VFO, please.
Or a Facebook post.
Yes,
Yeah.
keep scrolling, keep turning.
Uh-huh.
Turn it off. But we don't have to kill over it. What we don't like to hear. Okay, that was my seriousness for the night. So that's all I've got. Let me
Nice.
stop sharing here.
It's good. It's good.
That's right. Well, that was another fantastic lineup of Ham It or Can It, Amanda. Thank you so much for doing that.
Well, thank you. And don't forget, we got 14 Charlie on D-Star, and we are looking for net control for 40 meters. And anyone reach out to me, please. I'd love to get you becoming a net control. So
Yep.
Mhm.
Let's go around the horn. What's going on with everybody else in the next 2 weeks?
Who wants?
I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
I guess I can
Okay.
start. Let's see. What's today? Today's the 10th. So tomorrow's the 11th. The 15th is our 41st wedding anniversage.
Wow.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Congrats, yeah.
This Saturday, Tyler, my son, and I are going to the Slidell, Louisiana Ham Fest. So we're gonna
Nice.
go do that. Let's see. Speaking of this day in history, 60 years ago, yesterday was the landfall of, I believe it was landfall of Hurricane Betsy in New Orleans. And my wife, as an infant, was rescued by boat from the roof of their apartment house.
Wow.
Which was on the 3rd floor.
Wow.
Ooh, wow.
So yeah, so it's still hurricane season. Today is the statistical peak of that, and it's going to start ramping down rapidly since then. There's nothing out there right now for the next 7 to 10 days, so we like to keep it that way, and hopefully the rest of hurricane season will be uneventful.
Definitely.
Right now.
And warm up the airwaves weekend after next. I'll see you on 10, not meters, 10 gigahertz.
Gigahertz.
Awesome. What about you, Randy?
Let's see. Tuesday night will be the last class for our technicians and generals here in town. We've probably, in the last 2 years, had about 35 to 40 people, get licensed. And the following Tuesday, we'll be doing the testing. And Gordo, I went through my junk boxes the other day, and I got parts now. I got LEDs with little batteries and roller inductor and ICs.
Nice.
I even found an IC, the old proms that you would take in a race with the ultraviolet light, until people look in the window there. It's, it's 256 bytes of memory.
Wow.
Whoa. Joshua, what about you?
I am
you?
fixing to be paddleboard portable on HF on Saturday from on the Pacific Ocean. So I'm literally gonna try and get on HF on a paddleboard from a protected harbor-ish area this weekend. So I'm hoping for about 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If I can do it earlier, I will, and I'm going to try and also live stream it at the same time. So
good.
Is that a
user
POTA?
705?
It's not a POTA. That's the only problem. It's not a POTA. So no, and I'm not bringing any radio that will succumb to salt water. This radio should be resistant to it. And so yes, that's a clue for some of them.
I have one small bit of advice for you.
Okay.
Well, actually 2. Watch for sharks, and
Sure.
mind the banjo music.
On the Pacific Ocean, if we got dangerous banjo music, I got
You never
bigger
know.
problems.
Listen, it's California. Anything could happen.
If there's a lifeguard standing in the tower yelling, "You got a pretty mouth," we got a much bigger problem going on, Don. We got a lot of big problems.
You see Burt Reynolds in a wetsuit vest, you got problems.
We got big problems. I'm getting out of the water fast.
Well, have fun and be safe.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Please do.
Look forward to the video.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Look forward to the videos and maybe mishaps,
Film at 11.
Don't do it. Don't do it to me.
If I see you on CNN, though, I don't know who you are.
The man somehow electrocuted himself with the ocean.
Next on Animal Planet.
All right, you guys, everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight, and we appreciate you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
73.
Good night, everyone.
73.
Thanks for stopping by.
God bless America.